surrounding his father's death were not fully revealed to Diddy during his childhood, he gradually pieced together the puzzle. Trajectory took shape as he ventured into the music industry, starting as a party promoter, background dancer, and label intern. However, his talent and determination propelled him to take on various roles, including talent scout, label executive, producer, songwriter, and rapper. During the mid-90s, he emerged as one of hip-hop's prominent moguls, following in the footsteps of Russell Simmons, co-founder of Def Jam Records. Diddy's empire dominated the charts at the time, leaving a big impact on the future of rap music.
If you ask a group of people what hustle is, you're probably going to get a lot of different answers. But I think it's doing whatever you need to do to become successful. It takes focus, determination, and playing the game a little harder than everybody around you. Sean P. Diddy Combs is a hustler. As a matter of fact, he's what I call an extreme hustler. He's a producer, performer, an actor. He has created a clothing empire. He's also responsible for one of my favorite vodkas.
In 1993, Diddy made his mark in the music industry by establishing his own production company, Bad Boy Entertainment, collaborating with both rising and established talents in rap, hip-hop, and R&B, such as Mariah Carey, Boyz II Men, Lil Kim, Aretha Franklin, Mary J. Blige, Faith Evans, and Biggie Smalls. Combs showcased his keen eye for talent and instinct for producing hit records. His contributions earned him the prestigious title of ASCAP Songwriter of the Year in 1996.
So I would say last year I had a great time. Yeah, I'm glad they invited me back.
What's your favorite thing here about MTV? What's about the people tonight, the audience, the show? What's up?
It's like the categories and the way they pick the winners is so different. It's so on the edge. It's more entertaining, more of an entertaining award show.
Not content with only producing and remixing tracks for other artists, Diddy decided to venture into his own solo career in 1997. He released his debut single, Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, which soared to the top of the U.S. charts, holding the #1 position for almost 2 months.
Hot track melt like it's hot wax. Put it out, all the stores bet you can shop that. Leave a nigga with a hot hat, frontin' like Bad Boy ain't got trash. Nigga, stop that. There's no guy slicker than this young fly nigga. Nickel 9 liquor, float you die quicker. It's bedtime, out of town pie flipper. Turn Chris Styles to a crooked eye slipper. Everybody wanna be fast, see the cash. Walk around in weak staff, get a heat rash. Anything in Bad Boy made me smash. 100 stats, push a bulletproof, it's flat.
This marked the beginning of a tremendously successful journey for Diddy as a solo artist. By this time, Bad Boy Entertainment had earned a staggering $100 million in record sales and secured a lucrative multi-million-dollar management deal with Arista Records. Tragedy struck in 1997 when Combs' close friend and collaborator Biggie Smalls was tragically murdered. In response, Combs paid homage to the late artist by recording the tribute song, I'll Be Missing You.
Seems like yesterday we used to rock the show. I laced the track, you locked the flow. So far from hanging on the block though. Notorious, they got to know that life ain't always what it seemed to be. Words can't express what you mean to me. Even though you're gone, we still a team. Keep your family out, fulfill your dreams. In the future, can't wait to see if you open up the gates for me. Reminisce sometime. Night they took my friend. Try to black it out, but it played.
The track soared to the top of the Billboard singles chart, reigning supreme for an impressive 11 weeks. This heartfelt tribute also served as the launching pad for Combs' first solo album, titled No Way Out, 1997, which achieved platinum status. The album solidified its position as a commercial success, becoming the third best-selling LP of the year. It's all about the Benjamins and Been Around the World reached number 2.
Do wanna be ballers, shot callers, brawlers, who be dipping in the bins with the spoilers, on the low from the Jake and the Taurus, trying to get my hands on some grass like Horace, yeah, living the raw deal, 3-course meal, spaghetti, fettuccine and veal, but still, everything's real in the field, and what you can't have now, leave in your will, don't knock me for trying.
The album also saw widespread critical success, with Puff Daddy being nominated for 5 awards at the 40th Grammy Awards, winning the Grammy Award for Best Rap Album. It remains his best-selling album, with over 7 million copies shipped in the United States, and it's still considered a classic hip-hop album. Of course, success also meant rivalry, as other New York hip-hop record labels were also emerging in the same period of time. In the early 90s, the genre experienced a shift with the rise of G-Funk, represented by Dr. Dre's iconic album, The Chronic, in 1993. The release not only introduced the world to Snoop Dogg, but also brought immense success to Death Row Records, the label behind the album. This period witnessed the commercial dominance of Dre, Snoop, and the signing of Tupac Shakur. Meanwhile, New York City's hip-hop scene remained vibrant and impactful, boasting acts such as the Wu-Tang Clan, Nas, and A Tribe Called Quest, whose landmark albums continued to shape the genre's landscape. However, the likes of Dre, Snoop, and Tupac enjoyed omnipresence on MTV and achieved unparalleled commercial success. Snoop's debut album, Doggy Style, made history as the fastest-selling hip-hop album at the time, with over 800,000 copies sold in its first week. The album's singles, including Who Am I, What's My Name, and Gin and Juice, soared to the top of the charts and enjoyed significant radio airplay. Doggy Style, like The Chronic, featured a roster of talented rappers associated with or signed to Death Row Records, such as Daz Dillinger, Corrupt, and Nate Dogg. However, following Dre's departure from the label, Snoop encountered restrictions, realizing that Death Row practically owned his creative output for a specific duration. Consequently, he refused to produce further tracks for Suge Knight and Death Row, except for the provoking song Death Row, until his contract expired.
Well, Snoop came along when it was a time when rap was a little bit different. It was, it was the hip hop, the hip, and then the hip. He came across with a whole new thing. It was gangster rap, and it just flipped the whole hip-hop thing upside down. One of the first artists to sell 3-4 million records right off the top. So he was the first one. I call him the father of rap. Yeah, and that's the reason why all colors, all ages, all genres couldn't relate to Snoop Dogg.
However, in 1994, Bad Boy Records emerged in the limelight with the release of the notorious B.I.G.'s debut album. Ready to Die sold over 4 million copies. This success was followed by even greater triumphs, as Bad Boy Records consistently delivered hit after hit with albums from Puff Daddy, Mace, Faith Evans, and other notable artists. The West Coast versus East Coast feud is a legendary rivalry that has defined the landscape of hip-hop for decades. Rooted in the 1990s, this intense conflict pitted prominent rap artists from both coasts against each other, igniting a battle for supremacy, lyrical dominance, and cultural influence. With iconic figures such as Tupac Shakur representing the West Coast and the notorious B.I.G. leading the charge for the East Coast, tensions escalated escalated to a level that transcended music, encompassing personal rivalries, tragic losses, and a clash of distinct artistic styles. There was a downside to Bad Boy's rise as it sparked the notorious East Coast versus West Coast feud, which is believed by some to have played a role in the tragic deaths of Tupac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G. This feud, which captivated the hip-hop culture of the 1990s, was a mix of violence and sheer horror, leaving behind the loss of two immensely influential rappers. During the 1990s, the hip-hop landscape was vastly different from what it is today. The rivalry primarily revolved around two record labels, Death Row Records on the West Coast and Bad Boy Entertainment on the East Coast. Each label boasted its own roster of stars, with Tupac signed to Death Row and Biggie signed to Bad Boy. These artists dominated the rap charts along with their associates such as Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Suge Knight, Lil' Kim, Faith Evans, and Diddy. They achieved unprecedented record sales, with their feud ironically fueling their commercial success. It's important to note that the so-called East Coast versus West Coast feud was not truly about the geographical regions themselves, but rather about specific states, New York and California. While Baltimore is technically situated on the East Coast, Tupac's residence there suggests that he had harbored no animosity towards rappers from Baltimore, Philadelphia, or Miami. His grievance was specifically directed towards New York. Interestingly, the regional feud had its roots in the friendship between Tupac and Biggie, who were two of the biggest rap stars in the United States, alongside being close friends. Tupac, who was born in New York, held no initial animosity towards the city. However, a single incident changed everything.
Yeah, I like to think revolutionary change.
From his teenage years, Biggie began rapping to entertain the people in his neighborhood. He had no serious intentions of pursuing a music career, but his tape somehow made its way to The Source magazine, who was so impressed by it that they featured him in their unsigned hype column in March of 1992. This exposure led to Biggie being approached to collaborate with other unsigned rappers. P. Diddy, who was then working as an A&R executive and producer for Uptown Records, heard about Biggie's recording and arranged a record deal for him. However, P. Diddy left Uptown soon after, due to a falling out with his boss, Andre Harrell. He went on to establish his own label, Bad Boy Records, and by mid-1992, Biggie had joined it. Before Biggie had the chance to release anything under Bad Boy, Uptown Records released some of his music that he had recorded during his brief time with the label. One notable release was a remix of Mary J. Blige's Real Love in August 1992, which featured a guest verse from Biggie. In June 1993, Uptown Records released Biggie's first solo single, Party and Bullshit.
I was a terror since the public school era. Backroom passes, cutting classes, squeezing asses. Smoking blunts was a daily routine since 13. A chubby nigga on the scene. I used to have to trade deuce and the deuce in my bubble goose. Now I got the Mac in my knapsack, lounging flat, smoking sacks up in action sidekicks with my sidekicks, rocking fly kicks. Honeys wanna chat, but all we wanna know is their party.
During this time, Biggie Smalls had his first encounter with Tupac. The meeting took place at a party hosted by an LA drug dealer, and they bonded over food, drinks, and smoking. Tupac, who was already an established artist, became a mentor to Biggie, and at one point, Biggie asked if Tupac would become his manager. However, Tupac advised him to stick with Diddy, believing that he would help him become a star. Around the same time, Biggie was facing financial concerns as he became a father to his daughter, Tiana, with his high school sweetheart, Jen. It had become become reported that Biggie returned to drug dealing until Diddy intervened and put a stop to it. In 1994, while working on his album Me Against the World and collaborating with East Coast artists, Tupac traveled to New York. He was invited by a man named Ron G to record tracks with two up-and-coming rappers named Booker and Little Sean at Quad Studios. However, upon leaving the building, Tupac was ambushed and shot multiple times. He believed that the attack was orchestrated by Biggie, and this incident marked the beginning of their feud. With Tupac forcing his record label and crew to take sides in what he considered a war, the feud between the two labels escalated. Shortly after Tupac released the diss track, Hit 'Em Up, he was murdered. Following Tupac's death, it is widely believed that Biggie's murder the following year was a retaliatory act. Controversies and speculations have followed Diddy like a shadow. Persistent rumors linking him to the tragic murder of the legendary rapper Tupac Shakur have cast a shadow of uncertainty over his otherwise remarkable career. Though vehemently denied, these allegations continue to fuel debates and intrigue within the music community. In 1999, Diddy released the albums Forever. The Saga Continues, and Press Play, all of which achieved great commercial success.
You're not here for very long. I realise a very brief little trip to our capital, isn't it?
A couple of hours just to come speak to you.
What can you do in a couple of hours in London? Have you got your plan worked out? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
I mean, I had a couple of interviews. I had to come speak to you, which was very important. And we're having a celebration, for my album. I'm going #1 in the United States. Having a celebration out here somewhere at an undisclosed location. And then right at the end of the night, I'm going to just go jump on the jet and go back to New York.
Single number 2 off the album is going to be the one with Christina Aguilera.
Yes.
When you work with some fine people you mentioned before, but Christina Aguilera, very jealous.
Christina, she definitely has one of the greatest voices, in music right now.
What you thinking about when you got me waiting patiently? Usually I don't have to wait for nobody. When it's in the past, you don't really got me feeling free. And I'm trying to find the words to speak. I still got my eyes on you. So tell me what you wanna do. I can picture you in my room too.
However, along with fame came trouble. In December 1999, Combs and his then-girlfriend, actress-singer Jennifer Lopez, were allegedly involved in a shooting incident at a nightclub in New York City, resulting in 3 people getting injured. Later on, Diddy faced legal charges, including 4 counts of illegal gun possession and 1 count of bribery. Prosecutors claimed that he offered his driver, Wardell Fenderson, $50,000 to claim ownership of the loaded gun found at the crime scene. The trial began in late January 2001. On March 16, 2001, Combs was acquitted of all charges, as was his bodyguard. However, his protege, rapper Jamal Shine Barrow, who was accused of firing inside the nightclub and injuring bystanders, was found guilty of assault, reckless endangerment, and criminal possession of a weapon. In addition to his success in music, Combs had established himself as an actor and executive producer in the film and television industry.
Yeah, it's an Oliver Stone movie that's going to be on Warner Brothers. And I'm not totally sure if I'm doing everybody's just rushing so quick with it, but it's a movie about football, done the Oliver Stone way. It's about this young black kid this older coach. It's kind of fly. I'm gonna let Oliver tell you how the rest of it is. I may not be it, and I don't want to spoil it. I feel great. I'm like kind of speechless in the sense of, you know, we just won for undefeated documentary, and I'm just here. I'm gonna hear him get in there, have a drink, and celebrate. I didn't really expect to hear it to win, because I never expect an award shows to actually hear it. So hearing it, I was in shock for a second. I didn't know really what to do, but you know, I just yelled and screamed, and I'm happy. Yes. Man, I think that the Vanity Fair table coffee top books kind of say it all. If you really go in, it's hard to explain. Like that's the best one. When people ask me about it, I say, you know, get one of the coffee table books. In the intimacy of this party, the exclusivity, and it's true old Hollywood done in a contemporary style.
He has appeared in numerous films and partnered on TV series like Making the Band 2. He has also executive produced acclaimed documentaries such as Undefeated and Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. In 2013, he launched Revolt, his own music television network, and established Revolt Films, a production company known for its successful projects like Dope.
The summit is about a discussion. You know, we wanted to elevate it and open up the conversation to be more than just about music, to be about our culture. As big as the industry is, like, we don't really come together. Like, we have the Google conferences, and we have the, you know, the different conferences around the world, but we don't have conferences for hip-hop and the business of hip-hop and the culture. And so this is here to fill that void. And you know, to be able to bring it here, start it in Brooklyn, and go to Atlanta, and then go to LA, I think is important, because that's what gave birth to me. Conferences like this gave birth to me, and also other executives like myself. I think information is the key. I think we're in a renaissance right now, and I think there's a whole new generation of entrepreneurs that need information, that need guidance, that need to put some support behind their dream, and that's what it's about. It's about going from just making hit records to stepping up to the responsibility of sharing information and the power of information.
It's empowerment, it's unification, and it's also bringing us together in the form of ownership, and also educating us, and I think it's needed for the culture.
Well, first of all, Revolt, what I love about the word Revolt is that it's really about being a disruptor, and I'm a disruptor. So, of course, first of all, anything that Diddy does, I want to be a part of it. Second of all, I remember attending the first Revolt conference in Miami, and what I really love is that it's not one of those boring conferences or a boring summit where you sit around and listen to that you really don't care about. On top of that, the Dreaming Black campaign that I've seen from AT&T, organically really integrating our culture into what matters to us, is just amazing. So when they invited me, I had to come.
Because definitely put themselves as a skeletal brand out here for culture and pushing the conversation. So I'm just here to help. Yeah, because I think we need to remind ourselves that we have platforms that actually celebrate what we're doing out here in our own time. And a lot of times, whether you're an influencer, artist, or visionary, we're just creating, we're posting on Instagram, we're showing all we have. But events like this kind of give us a platform where we can all be together and kind of talk about what we're doing. So I think we're organically creating culture, and Revolt and AT&T are able to help us curate that.
Throughout the years, Combs also demonstrated his commitment to making a positive impact on society. He founded Daddy's House Social Programs, an organization dedicated to assisting inner-city youth through initiatives such as tutoring, life skill classes, and an annual summer camp. Additionally, he joined forces with Jay-Z to pledge $1 million for the support of Hurricane Katrina victims in 2005, while also donating clothing from his Sean John line